It's Podular. Welcome back, folks. It is Thursday, September 4th. This is episode 45, and we are here to partially break down the most recent Colorado run, the 3-night run from STS9. We're just going to start with Boulder Theater here because this run, it calls for 2 episodes. So we're going to break down this incredible performance at the Boulder Theater. Before we do that, introduce my co-host, Mr. Scotty Fuller. How we doing?
You're goddamn right. It's Podular, Nate. I am fucking ready to pod today, baby. Oh, man. 3 nights in Colorado's got me fired up today, man. I walked away on Sunday night, and one of the first things I said to my wife and our guest next week and good friend of both of ours, Mr. Willa Craw, I am ready to pod. I was ready to talk about this shit immediately. Yeah, dude, I'm feeling good. I could go another night. I'm fired up today, dude. Let's get it.
Fuck yeah. Glad to hear my boys inspired. I can feel that coming off the streams, man. Obviously hurt my heart to not be there. G and I had a great weekend here in Chicago, though. We got to check out Arc Music Festival, which is a world-class house and techno festival here in Chicago. Actually, where North Coast used to be is where they have this. Same weekend, same location. Had a good time. Copped some pretty sick merch here. This kind of reminds me of some STS9 Chicago merch a little bit here. And you get
Yeah, it does.
the home of house is calling. First.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Appreciate
So
it.
had some fun, but obviously spent a lot of time checking out the streams. Um, which again, anytime we get blessed with video streams through Nugs, we're some lucky ducks for sure. Especially for
Yeah.
folks that aren't able to attend those shows, but even for folks like you who were there, and we get to go back and we get to review the tape, get to review the film, and you haven't seen these shows yet from
Nope.
this perspective, right?
No, I have not grinded out some tape study yet. Then and that's intentional.
Yeah.
Even in that intro, man, it took everything in me not to comment because good Lord, do those screens look good on the stream.
Yeah.
They looked real good from where I was sitting too, but in particular, the way that Nugs seemed to have caught that, and again, we're just 4 minutes into a lot of clips that we've got today for you guys, but I'm really excited to see how this filmed because it seemed to have been really fucking cool on the stream as well.
Yeah, they had quite a few angles, man. And some really cool close-ups, some really good crowd shots. Man, the Boulder Theater on camera looks absolutely up for grabs. So let's start there. Again,
It was.
again, we're gonna spend this week's episode just on the Boulder Theater. That is how insane this show was. And then next week we'll have some boots on the ground for the Dillon Amphitheater show. But Scotty, I forget. Had you seen them at the Boulder Theater prior? Or is this your
Nope.
first Boulder Theater show? Okay. All
Nope,
right.
nope. First Boulder Theater show. I'm the boots on the ground this week,
Let's
and
go.
yeah, no, I missed the 2015 show. I was a much younger fan with less resources to find tickets, quite honestly, and a lot less money, and so those tickets sold out very quickly, and
Hmm.
I just never found one. I ended up picking up a buddy from the airport and catching the soundboard and being a little sad. But honestly, even looking back on it, the nights that followed were enough for me.
Oh yeah. I mean,
That Saturday show of that week is was my favorite STS9 show. Um, and so I didn't leave too sad about that one.
hmm
Um, I would have been sad about missing this one though. Good
hmm
God.
Well, yeah. I mean, talk to it before we get to the music,
Hmm.
man. Obviously, right there on is it Main Street they call it Pearl Street in Boulder?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pearl Street. I not
yeah.
not I don't know if it's technically on Pearl Street, but it's
Around
a
that area, right? Yeah.
stone's throw from Pearl Street, less than a
Hmm.
block. Yeah.
Looks like we had a little bit of construction going on outside the venue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, nothing that got in the way of anything. Just
Yeah.
just some protective scaffolding and stuff. You barely noticed it.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like they're doing a little bit of work on the facade of the building, but
Hmm.
I mean the marquee, that is such an epic marquee, the
Yes,
neon sign, and that shit was still popping for sure.
absolutely.
Um no opener here today. So
No opener, an evening
yeah.
with.
Hmm. Did it
You
seem like a
know,
lot of the crowd showed up at
oh man,
doors?
a
It
lot.
looked
Oh
like,
yeah,
yeah.
100%. A lot going on in Boulder, right?
Hmm.
You got the Georgia Tech Boulder football game going on,
Hmm.
quarter mile away. Boulder was buzzing.
Hmm.
We left and got out. We left when the game started to beat traffic, and I could not believe it, dude. We got a parking space directly in front of the Boulder Theater.
Fuck yeah.
Just happened to time it out perfectly. and hopped out, and line was long, and people were ready to go. That venue was completely full within 30 minutes of it opening. People got the memo because doors were at 8 and shows at 9.
Mm.
So they got right to it. And
Yep.
walking in that place, first impressions were just, it was low stress. The
Mm.
balcony was technically assigned seats, but I don't really think anyone knew that, because we all got up there. We were all together with all the homies in front 2 rows of the balcony, and that was my perspective for the show. Just as good as anyone, I'm a sucker for a good balcony, and man, it doesn't get much better than that Boulder Theater balcony.
Yeah.
It's a great view, not too far back, and one of those balconies that even gets a little scary at times. You can feel it
Get
doing
bouncing a little
this.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was definitely the case this night. But who doesn't like a little bit of danger with their STS 9?
Absolutely. So walking in, did they have
Hmm.
all the merch that they had planned to?
All the
It
merch.
was already on Friday. Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, those STS 9 college looking hats were
Mm-hmm.
flying off
Yeah.
off the shelf. Those that shout out Taylor Houston Morgan, man. I got a chance to spend a lot of time with Taylor this weekend, and he is just as inspired as ever, and it's great to see him really stepping into a spot that he clearly has earned, and he's taking that ball and running with it. And the merch on this weekend was a great example of it. I mean, people were dripped out in that shit by
Mm-hmm.
Sunday afternoon. And you couldn't turn around and not see 15 people wearing something from the merch booth. So I bet it sold really well.
Fuck yeah. Glad to hear it. No, and shout out to Taylor. He is holding on to one of those for me because you can't tell me that that is not in a fighting line I inspired
No,
hat right there.
man, he knows his audience.
Yeah.
Let's just say that, man. Everything I've ever seen from him, whether it's come out or it hasn't, is right dialed right in with the mind of the people.
Fuck yeah. Um, so we get into the show, and I think we had expected there to be some heightened sense of production on this type of run, right?
Yeah.
Before the music starts, we take a look on stage. What are some things that you're noticing?
A lot of laser consoles
Yeah.
that are
So
not being.
I'm sure you were counting those as you had walked in,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. That was the
Yeah.
first thing I was looking for. The first thing I did when I walked in was introduce myself to Drew.
Okay.
Um,
Good.
ran in there with me and Brandon did it, and chopped it up with him for about 15 minutes. As we've said, he's been an avid supporter of the show and has been super helpful in kind of giving us a inside look at what was going on with every look, and sometimes some of the challenges that arose from them. And it was it was really cool to put a face and a voice to a name. He was like, "Do you want me to tell you what's up there?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." I was like, I'll circle back with you once the weekend's over,
Hmm.
and ask. Sorry, I didn't think to actually circle back until about 40 minutes before we started recording. So if at any point we do get a message from Drew with exactly what was on stage, I'll just kind of stop whatever we're doing and explain it. But as of recording of this podcast, he hasn't gotten back to me yet. But yeah, I'm just noticing a lot of extra equipment up there. This was my first time seeing the band in this look in any form with
Yeah.
Drew. So
Hmm.
I'm noticing the placement of those diamonds. I'm just kind of seeing how everything is laid out. He
Hmm.
told me specifically before that this was going to be his rave cave look.
Okay.
That was what he described this venue and what was happening on stage. that night. He said the advantages to the Boulder Theater was that he can basically go pitch black and fill this motherfucker with so much smoke that everything is going to glow really nice.
Hmm.
But he said that he at the time was going to have way more toys to play with at Dylan.
Hmm.
And so that was what he told me beforehand. And that rave cave comment got me real fucking fired up before the show even got started.
I bet. All right. Well, let's get into the music, right? Just kind of calling back to what Brad had told us last week, right?
Hmm.
Um, you were thinking possibly Quests. I was thinking possibly Bosso. He had said from the first song in the first set, the heads are gonna know what the deal is,
Correct.
right? And hey, we didn't hit on either of our predictions, but
Nope.
I mean, a 15 plus minute evasive to
Hmm.
start the weekend. Okay,
Hmm.
yes, I
Yep.
think we get it.
Hmm.
So energy right off the bat, as
Yes.
soon as the set starts. How are we feeling, Scotty?
I mean, dude, this is a lot of jungle gym time, as we know. And one more thing before we get into music, shout out to everybody that came up to me and said nice words about the pod and nice words about the interview. That's always fun, and that was only
Hmm.
my second time getting to do that. So shout out to all you nice people that continue to listen because we really love that. Um, Anyway, evasive maneuvers. Dude, it just the sound was so fucking loud in there. And just Alana in particular really walked all over this thing. But I think you said it, a tone setter. Right off the bat, we're here. We're the Kool-Aid man running through walls. And we're doing it in Boulder.
Dude, I mean, there's something about this show in the last, or this song in the last calendar year, right? Where we
Mhm.
get the show opener back in Radius, right? Night two of Radius. You get that monster version that we clipped out from um, New Year's Eve in New Orleans this year. You get that incredible version coming out of um, Forest Hue at the Sky Deck in Nashville, right?
Yep.
And then you get that version that we clipped out from the Crocodile in Seattle. And then this version right here, man, they have been absolutely smoking this song, right?
Hmm.
And I feel like it's a song that, sure, they've gone through a lot of dips and valleys in terms of how often they played it, but I don't think they've ever as consistently played it as the level that they have in the last calendar year, dating back to the early 2000s, right? So I think that's a statement in itself as well. And I think that they're fucking feeling this one for sure. But
Yeah, and something that we're gonna say a couple times. This I might be my memory's kind of slipping right now, but this might be the first episode that we've done on a single show. Um, a- and well,
well, at
no,
least at
no.
least at least when there were multiple shows that weekend.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Yes. Mhm.
And there's something to be said about, an episode that a 15 and a half minute evasive maneuver is not something you're going to be listening to tonight
Yep.
on this episode.
Hmm.
Um, because man, the clip is full and unless you want to be here for 2.5 hours tonight, we got to sacrifice some. And unfortunately, an opening evasive maneuvers is something that we are going to sacrifice in expense of this next one,
Yep.
which is a 3-year bust out. So we'll get
Yep.
into that, and then we'll talk about it.
Bro, fucking Drew, dude. What the fuck, man?
I was gonna let's talk about it. I was gonna wait until we turn the lasers on later in the episode, but let's fucking
Sure.
talk about it.
Dude,
Um,
I almost was more excited by some of the non-laser looks right here.
sure,
And,
absolutely.
and like you talked about, playing with negative space, right? And I think that I was talking about it in about the Grand Rapids show, right? This is a very dark venue. This is another very dark venue, right? Um, and these layers that are added by these pixel bars
Yeah.
behind them, and then you get some
Yep.
photons as well, and some hanging shit too. Um, just super impressive to see how quickly this has evolved. But um, yeah, unless you have more to say about it visually, there's more stunning shit about this show visually. We can move on to the music, but I it just it's the thing that's freshest right now in terms of like what the live version of STS9 currently is it's a new look and it's a refreshing look at this point and um now we're kind of back to the type of production that we're used to, right?
Well,
So,
let's be clear here. This lighting team has fucking arrived,
yeah, yeah.
and that's where we're at. There
Hmm.
there is there's no more doubt that the team that we thought they were when the announcement happened, the team that's been associated with names like Daft Punk,
Hmm.
you know,
Dead
uh,
Mouse, yeah.
and
What we were
Dead Mouse.
excited about, yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
And sure, it took a little bit of time to dial in. Why wouldn't it have?
Hmm.
These are two units of creativity that are renowned as some of the best at what they do in the world.
Hmm.
So let's meet, let's learn the music, let's figure out what looks good, let's figure out what the fans like. This shit was always going to be a growing organism, and it probably still is. But let's be clear, we have arrived at a new lighting team that fucking gets it and is landing it consistently.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about that, I think, ad nauseum across these next 2 weeks.
Oh, they 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 arrived again just a night
Hmm.
later, right?
Right, right. But
um,
this rave cave night that we'll continue to look at. I mean, man, it was Saxton-esque.
yep,
It was Tiberius at
yep,
the peak of his powers.
uh-huh.
But it was something
And then it was
completely
Drew
different.
too.
It
Yeah,
felt
yeah,
iconic.
right, yeah,
For
yeah,
the first time that I had seen, it felt like something that you would never fucking forget.
yeah,
And that's what we love about this band, right?
right. Well, let's get to the music. Biggest bust
Yeah,
out of the weekend, right?
right.
This is one that I think some people have been like kind of turning their heads about and being like, where is this one going? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it had been since the Mish back in 2022, that we'd seen it. And just an absolute not a 12, 15 minute version, right? sitting there around that 10-minute mark, but like just absolutely ripping, dude. It's again,
Mm-hmm.
it's the pace. It's Zach Velmer on this one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, bro, that camera angle all night from this show, where it's just like perched right up there, and you can just see how fucking active he is up there and how he's driving this fucking locomotive on this certain song. Um, yeah, him and Phipps seem really lock and step on this one here. And again, smaller but mighty, but I can't think of a tighter version that I've heard. And super impressive to say that, figuring it's been on the shelf for almost 3 years, right? So
Right. Right. Um,
had to have gotten a good reaction as soon as they started playing it live, I assume.
huge pop, huge
Yeah.
pop.
Mhm.
Jamie Pearl, who I reached out to come on this week on short notice, and she couldn't do it. But shout out Jamie. She screamed, "Love don't terrorize!" as soon as it started, and you know, just a banger. What you said, you said it best. One of those where people were like, "Huh, whatever happened to that one?" Or
Yeah.
kind of one of those songs that I don't know if you're ever particularly looking for, but when it pops
Mhm.
up, you're like, "Hey, this is
Right.
a good one," you know?
Yep.
And when it's been gone for as long as it has been, I would say, you know, one of the nicer treats of a jam-packed night.
Fuck yeah. And you don't have to go very far for what was the next, I'd say a year and 2 months is a bust out as well. I mean, when you combine the amount of time it had been since we'd heard these two back-to-back songs, with Love Don't Terrorize and then We'll Meet in Our Dreams, shit, man. I mean, you're 3 songs into this set, and Brad's stoke level on these set lists, you could tell, especially from night one, set one, it couldn't be more valid, right?
Right,
So,
right, right. Um, you know, first of all, just real quick, what a pleasure last week was.
yeah,
You know, and he is a lot of things. He is a wonderful human being, a great interview, and he is not a liar, man.
no,
This weekend played out exactly the way he said it was going to. And you know, sacrifice number two of the night of a clip that
we'd
any
love to
other
clip this.
show
We'll meet in our dreams. Yeah,
in any other show would get this song would be a 6 minute clip.
yeah,
Not tonight. We're just not. It was just one we had to get rid of. I think we came into the pre-pod meeting with 9 clips, 8 or 9 clips, and
10, 10.
yeah, 10. Pardon me. Yeah, we just
Mhm.
don't. We can't do half the show. But
I think that's a Pod Podger record
yeah,
from one
for
show.
sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, let's touch on it real quick. Just a really
Mhm,
smooth drum and bass section here. And like it's also the mix on these where
mhm.
it's on these drum and bass sections all night, and quite a bit of drum and bass here. On this night one, I think more so than we saw the rest of the weekend. Just like almost like loungier, like not over the type, too over the top, too hyphy drum and bass, like
Mhm.
lounger, old school STS9 drum and bass on some of these sections here, as
Sure.
well. So yeah, last one that had been played again, 1 year, 2 months, and some change ago. That was at the Pine Creek Lodge show in Paradise Valley in
Okay.
Montana, which I think that is actually when we clipped on the show, that show we discussed that show. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, this takes us to our next clip. I think there's a little bit of debate on the
Yep.
uh, on the
Yep. For
labeling of it, so we'll get
uh-huh.
to that afterwards. But we'll let it speak for itself first. How about that?
Mhm.
water. Caesar.
Yeah.
God.
Wow.
Jesus Christ. Yep. keep that
I
crowd popping there.
I made a post after the show on Friday night that the balcony was on their feral fucking animal shit. And this is Exhibit A. If you were on the balcony for this one, you know what time it is, dude. This Oh, this was the first holy shit moment of the night, to me.
Yeah.
With the lasers at full tilt, a decent bust out. I don't remember the last time we got a Peace Blaster suite, um, and just
think it
to
was
me,
I think
yes.
it was Oakland, if I'm not mistaken. I'll look that
Okay.
up real quick, but keep going.
Just to me, my first moment that I'm really always gonna remember about this night. To me, this is I think going to be in the conversation for song of the year
Yeah.
when it's all said and done. Um, which kind of brings us to our first point of contention. You wrote the set list for this
I didn't
show.
write it. I kept track of it.
You kept okay.
Yeah, I
You
ran
kept
set list
no, you
in the
yeah,
lounge, which
sorry.
is fun.
You're right. I should clarify. Yeah,
So I'm assuming Zach Valmer had most of the hand in writing
yeah.
it.
But you interpreted it.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, I think we can agree that there's at least some mislabeling in the lack of the '08 Peace Blaster on
Yeah,
the soundboard. That part is clearly in there, but that's not up for debate.
on
I
Bandcamp, you mean? Yeah.
Right. I think
Mhm.
what's up for debate is you called this a seed,
Yes.
not a year infinity.
Hmm.
So why?
I mean, I think it goes back to, the old Seed Blaster combo, right? I think this is with the first time we heard Seed and um, Peace Blaster together, I think was at Wave Spell year two.
Hmm.
And then that kind of became a marriage, that Hunter strumming the get, get, ba-da-ba-da, ba-da-ba-da, ba-ba. That's really neither Seed nor Peace Blaster. I think that's what you kind of see is kind of what got birth out of the combination of Seed and Peace Blaster. I think it's certainly not Year Infinity, right?
I agree there, um, but I think it's certainly not seed either.
Okay.
Um,
And here's the other thing too. This jam is reminiscent of those Seed jams that we saw last year a whole lot before Year Infinity gets pulled into the
well,
fold.
and
Um,
and
Go
forgive
ahead.
me forgive me. I'm forgetting as I'm trying to make this argument. But that part, the doot 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 doot, that's in your infinity, right?
No, I don't
No.
think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's just the bump, 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 bump.
yeah. So so which brings me to somebody said something about repeats after all this. Which first of all, go fuck yourself if you have something bad to say at this point, dude. Like, it's so gross. Get off the lounge, dude. If you don't like this band, stop talking about them so much. Um, but somebody said something about a repeat, and I assume they were talking about Seed in Year Infinity. And I don't think that this is anything resembling a repeat. I talked to Hunter about it because I heard him sound check it, and I had that thought like, oh, I bet people are gonna say they repeated Seed or repeated Year Infinity. But
So you heard him sound check it on Friday?
no, I heard him sound checking on Sunday,
Okay, okay, got it.
at Dylan, and I had the
Mhm.
thought, and we're gonna get into it ad nauseum next week, because that was my favorite part of the weekend, that year Infinity.
Mhm.
But I talked to Hunter about it after the show, and I was surprised that with as big of a song that Year Infinity is, that they would have gotten it out the way in that fashion, in a seed form or whatever. And basically, I kind of made the same observation to Hunter that I'm making now, that it felt like a seed improv more than either
Okay,
one of
yeah.
those.
Right.
And
Right.
that would have been the way that I think I would have labeled it, but not in the moment. Like I totally see why you called it a seed in the moment, but
Yeah.
just in light of the fact that we got without a doubt the best year Infinity that's ever been played 2 days later.
Right,
I
which is a completely different
Yeah, I
yeah,
think this is kind of turned into, I guess, like you said, like you say now, the kind of something that just comes within the modular improv-esque thing that happens in Peace Blaster these days.
yes, but I think more calling back to kind of what we've lost from the seeds
Okay.
that kind of has been cut, that's turned into like, okay, seed turning into year infinity, right?
Yeah.
I think it's everything we lost from seed from 2024 and the previous maybe 18 months or so, where these seeds became started to become absolute monsters, where there's no doubt in your mind that like you said, that is exactly what we've heard. I think the best version ever from this one by far. I think it does eclipse that one from Chicago. I think there's another really good one from that Montana show that we talked about too. It didn't get to the peak that this one did. But this is certainly what you heard out of those seeds, and it's what we've lost as seed has turned into year infinity, right?
Cool.
That's my thought process behind labeling it as seed.
Maybe we can call it something different. Maybe we can call it like seedling or like a baby Peace Blaster or
Yeah,
something.
or you could just notate the whole section as seed blaster almost. I think that
Yeah.
might be more.
Uh, yeah, a
Yeah.
la Grow Blue or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
But
I
I
can get
think
behind that.
it's certainly not year infinity.
Hmm. Nope. Nope.
And
Nope. I heard
yeah.
of Year Infinity on Sunday, boy, and it wasn't that.
Exactly. Exactly. Either way, fuck it. Fuck who the fuck cares what it's called, man.
Green jacket,
Um,
gold jacket, who gives a fuck?
right. And well, if you take a look at the post from Church of SCS9, which I don't know if they're going off my post, it is a little bit different than my post, but I have a feeling based on who we know runs that, has access to the actual official set list, and it does say please factor 68 into '08 into seed. So
Okay. Okay. Well,
I
I'll just go fuck myself over there
if
then.
if you were backstage, my friend, you should have asked for the set list. You should have
D-
asked to take a
I,
look at it. So,
Dude, you want to know something, bro? Shout out to the loyal STS9 crew,
hmm
because I have never been given a set list that I haven't stolen. I've also never asked the band for one.
right.
Whenever I talk to them, I feel like such a fucking custy doing that. So I don't do it. But I have asked Crew and I asked Tiberius a million times, and no one ever gave me one. So if anyone from the band's listening, they hold you down pretty well.
They know they can get in a little bit of trouble for that for sure.
Hmm.
So, um, this brings us to the what I think was the only thing getting in the way of this making a perfect show, right? This is an interesting decision here, right? And I get that they're kind of going in the Peace Blaster kind of vibe with this middle part of this set, right? Then we kind of get into the artifact vibe for it afterwards. Um, yeah, I think this 5 minute, or sorry, 6 minute and 15 second beyond right now is a little bit of a head scratcher,
I
for
hate
sure.
that take. I hate that take.
Okay. Why
Yeah,
it's
I
it's
don't
just
agree.
my thing is like ever since that you've given it the drum and bass treatment a couple times where it's so much improves the song, right? It's not one of my favorite songs. It's not one of my least favorite songs, but it's just like ever since you hear them extend it with the drum and bass. I think this was Milwaukee 2017 during the fall tour. They did it the first time. They've done it a couple times since. It's just why not? Why not get into that again? But yeah, I'll give you the floor on your thoughts on it.
I mean, I think this is a little bit of personal bias. You're always partial to your first STS9 song, and this was my opener.
Okay,
Um,
there you
and
go.
and and so as soon as this song, let's be honest, this iconic Hunter riff
Yeah, for sure.
starts, I get that.
Yeah,
like
taking back. Yeah,
this is, talk about seeds, so to speak. Like this is where it all started. And so I really appreciate this song. But even if it wasn't my first song, man, I really appreciate this song. It doesn't sound like any other STS9 song. I think there's a pretty strong case to be made that it's the most rock and roll
yeah,
STS9
pretty
song.
rock and roll for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that you can have. And
and
I,
and
I
I
I
I,
think
I
it gets some
like it
unfair
coming
hate.
off. I like it coming off Peace Blaster for sure.
Yeah.
Um, you kind of like you kind of see the evolution of this set, right? You get Evasive, which is off IV. You get LDT, which is kind of the end of 1.0, 2.0 banger. You'll get We'll Meet in Our Dreams. Couldn't get it more OG drum and bass than that. And then you kind of get a Peace Blaster section here. And then you get an Artifact section. And then
Hmm.
they finish you off with just one of the absolute staples of the catalog. So, like, setlist writing, I couldn't get much better. But why not extend it a little bit? That's it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying, especially with the rhythm of the show so far. I mean, you've
Yeah.
got a 50-minute four-song opening section in
Yeah.
Evasive, Love Don't Terrorize, We'll Meet in Our Dreams, and the Peace Blacks Seed Blaster Suite.
There we
Um,
go.
a Seed Blaster Suite. That's what we're calling it.
Yeah.
Duh, that's just sitting right there. I can see how the Beyond right now is a little bit of a kind of moment. But I loved it personally.
Good.
And then you get into who could hate Illuma Daylight Tokyo, man.
Yeah, and a little bit of a different one, right? They kind of give you that drum and bass intro that we heard in Asheville to Tokyo, which I thought was just that much more smooth coming out of what's a very drum and bass heavy song in Luma Daylight, and then hitting that Tokyo drum and bass intro before kind of getting a hard stop to get into the original version of Tokyo. I can't remember the last time saw them do that, so that was super fresh and very well executed. But yeah, get into your point of view on this set ender. This was another one on the clipping room floor. But I know you had quite the anecdote about it.
Yeah, man. I don't know. So the Tokyo happens, and I think for sure we're out of here. That felt like the end to me. So I tried to get a jump on the water line, and unfortunately, halfway to my water, frequency starts. So I start making my way back right around the time that two gets into three. And Nate, I've never felt a fucking balcony shake like that in my life. Man, I'm a sucker for a venue that that doesn't have many rules. And
Hmm.
I think we all probably can think back to an example of an event that was just ruined by a lot of security worrying about little shit.
Yeah,
Man,
taking their job a little too seriously.
exactly. Uh, was the Boulder Theater ever not that, man? I don't think there was an employee of the Boulder Theater on the second floor, let alone a security guard. And I liked it that way. There was not a single spot on that balcony that somebody was not dancing all around. The aisles were full. I saw a 3-year-old running back and forth at one point in a tutu. Just absolute lawless fun. And getting from that water line back to my seat for that frequencies is some of the most fun I've ever had. Just kind of doing that moving through the crowd dancing thing. And, it just really felt like you were a part of something special up there. And one of my favorite memories of the weekend, as far as the set closer is concerned. You can definitely find better frequencies. You can find frequencies that are 5 minutes longer, but as far as just a vibe of the night to start the show with evasive maneuvers and then to close with this frequencies, I think this is a perfect set on paper.
Fuck yeah. I mean, what a way to start it. Again, Brad, you were not lying, my friend.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
um, Honestly, Scotty, I gotta say, I think that for me, set two trumps set one. And
Huh.
yeah, I think that this first clip will will be some pretty good evidence behind that here. So again, don't have to go too far for our first clip from the second set.
Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
This is where I got really mad watching it. Little dusk tease.
Circus shit, dude. But not like the song, like the event. Come on.
Bro, I don't know. I'm sure it was the case about the Boulder Theater. That shit shook my fucking living room, dude.
Dude. Dude, so going back to the last show that I was at, Sweetwater. Um I went backstage after that, and Alana, you so kindly had requested it today on my behalf for my birthday, to Alana. And when I got backstage, she was like, "Sorry, we didn't get your today," which at the time I
Oh,
was
I
like,
had
"Yeah,
forgot about that. Wow, she remembered
yeah."
that. That was
I don't
sweet.
I don't know. I'm not saying she did or she didn't. I didn't ask her.
Well, she told you. She told you.
She
Yeah.
told me she would get me back at some point in the year.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was getting at.
Mhm.
They say if you want something in life, you should claim it, and I'm gonna fucking claim that today,
Sure.
because goodness gracious, if it was or if it wasn't for me, I think is automatically in the conversation for best
Well,
today.
let's be clear. That was both rated E for everyone and M for mature, dude. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
yeah. I mean, there's a in there a very long today from that Boulder Theater 2007 run.
Most likely. I again, I'm not going to call this the best today ever. There are some todays from '04 that would have a seat at the table here, but this is by
Sure.
far the most unique today that we've ever
Okay.
heard. Modulated the fuck out. Oh my God, Alana just stomping on that modular jam. You get some dust teases in there. The fucking lasers going pretty much out on the light rig and full on those like blue purple lasers. I mean, you couldn't have lit that better, I don't think, in terms of just like it looked how it sounded, right? I mean,
Yeah, and no matter how much we talk about Drew in the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna say we didn't talk about him enough.
yeah,
This is another example of what you're talking about, and I would say, I guess, if there was one thing that was lost on me in the moment, it was how well the silhouette work was done
yeah,
this night. The Dusk is a great example of just one of those spooky kind of ballads, and once they
yeah.
get into that bag, once it's in a today modular improv like this is, or whatever, cut the lights off and have a few spooky lasers going, and now we're really telling stories with the presentation.
Yep, and it's a callback to what us and Brad talked about last week of like how well these songs fit with the old shit, right? And I mean it's a tease, right? It's a very short tease. I think this is maybe a preview to maybe we get a full today Dusk, which holy shit! I mean we'll get to Dusk from night three.
Right.
That was super different too. But yeah, I mean like to see Dusk pop up in the wild outside, or to see today pop up in the wild outside of an artifact night, I think is very promising, right?
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
hopefully we see today getting mixed in more and more here, which I think everybody's down for. So
Yeah, and one of those cool side effects, right, of when they do stuff a little bit different, whether it's a push on a certain album like Artifact or a Selector 9 like they've done. It seems like every time they do something like that, they find a song or two that they're like, huh, why don't we play with this one a little bit more?
yep,
And it becomes a part of the lineup, like a Mere Soul, or maybe hopefully a Today.
fuck yeah. The and just the segue into Big Basin with the really what intro mixed in there as well. Like I think that speaks to they don't just throw a really what intro before any song, right? I think that speaks to how they're feeling about Big Basin. And
Mhm.
again, how well this Big Basin was played. And I mean, I saw some videos from the balcony from Big Basin. The laser work was out of control.
Yeah.
Sh Shout out Quantum FX, who were the people that uh provided the lasers. I mean, like how many fucking fixtures were on stage, dude? Like and you had the ones like way off to the side as well that were like almost like in the corner of the venue off the stage. Um
Mhm.
Hell of a segment to open this second set.
Yeah. And Big Basin. After last week in that interview with Brad, I would say the story that stuck with me the most was the one that we didn't ask for about the fires, and specifically about Big Basin, learning that song was kind of inspired by those fires. I'll never listen to that song again and not think of that story. And yeah, like you say, not the longest Big Basin, but an extremely well executed one and a well placed one. I think in between the clip that we just listened to and the one that we're about to get into. And I believe the song is the longest song of the night. Nope, the second longest song of the night by about 13 seconds.
Yep.
Great camera shot of Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
I know, dude. Every time they go to that camera.
Man, smooth, 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 just fucking loungy, jazzy, fucking A, man. I don't think we've heard a Rabble drum and bass jam like this one. We've heard a lot of them, but like this one, they were in their bag, dude.
I know one that in the moment almost felt like they were extending a little longer than they planned to. One that just felt so much fun that they didn't want to stop playing it and added a few extra measures here and there. It was, I mean, this is rabies shot shit, dude. Like, people love this song. One of those that I'd imagine if you're a new STS9 fan could really be the one to rope you in. I don't remember my first Rabble, but it took more than a few shows. But I can totally see this being my aha moment. If I saw one like this in my first show, because I can't find anybody that dislikes this song.
And the Rabble with lasers, fucks, dude. This
Yeah.
is this is a song where lasers add another fucking element to it, dude.
Hmm.
um, and the spacey visuals on the video boards as well. Just again, more fucking great work by Drew and Company here. So a standout version, absolutely. And then we get into that Just Thanks that we clipped to start the show. Man, it's such a treat every time you hear it, right? It is one that had disappeared for so long, and then it came back for a little bit, and then we got it back in the fold. With a little bit of help from me, with the Camp Elsewhere request set, and what they've been doing with it with these modular sections. I think we heard a little bit of a today tease in this one too. So a callback. Does it get headier than teasing today during a Just Thanks modular jam?
Oh, dude. And so many that's kind of one of the themes of the weekend, I think, is there's it's almost Broadway musical-esque how throughout these three days you get hints of what's coming and callbacks from what has happened, and
hmm
you know it
Yeah,
it it
Brad talked about it. The arc
yep,
of these
yep,
shows.
yep. You
There's a
took you
lot of
took the words
storytelling
right out of
going
my
on.
mouth.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was very clear, very intentional. That that there was a lot of thought and time put into the presentation of these 3 days as kind of a unit. Um, yeah, just good shit out of that. Just thanks, and one that we didn't listen to the whole the full clip, but you got a taste of it on the intro, and like you said, man, just a nice heady treat whenever you get it.
Yeah, it's so much substance to that shit, man. It feels so good.
Hmm.
Especially after like a darker jam here. Again, like something to kind of like give you a second to take a breath and put your hands over your head and just kind of sway back and forth and some blissy STS9. And then we get back right into spacey STS9 with our next clip.
Come on, man.
Hunter fucking Brown, dude. Man, they got into quite a pocket there on this one. Fuck, they sounded like the Biscuits here for a second,
I,
dude. Like,
dude, you know what? I have a complicated relationship with 2012. I think I'm probably in the minority of people that it hasn't always been my favorite song.
mhm.
And when I mean it hasn't always been my favorite song, I mean there are times where it was kind of my bathroom song. Um, and I don't think it has been since Alana joined the band. And I say all that so that I can I guess add emphasis on the fact that I think this is the best moment of the night. Um, for me personally, I just the pocket that they caught was so different. The jam was, there was a modular vibe to it, obviously, but it didn't feel like it's so rooted in the modular. It felt almost 2015-esque with a little more heavier spin to the modular part of it.
Right.
And
More
and
of kind of instrumental jam for sure.
yeah.
Instrumental led for sure.
Yeah, and in a song that works great with modular, and you often see it used in that mode, but this one felt a little bit more Hunter Brown led, a little bit more Zach Velmer led, and
Hmm.
going back to, I mean, you just said the Rabble with lasers. I mean, 2012 with lasers. It's just
They look so fucking cool during this
yeah,
song, dude. I just
uh-huh,
the
and
layers of shit going on between the photons, between the video screens, between those strobe bars, between those pixel bars, and the lasers, of course, like just a visual cornucopia. Like just like what the fuck is going on? A lot of hands in the air this whole night, dude. I mean, like
mhm.
these kind of crowd just above crowd level shots where people are just fist bumping, jumping up in the air. We see a lot of Mitch Vogt. We see a lot
Caesar.
of course, Caesar, but it didn't seem like just those two guys. It seemed like the
No,
pit. The
certainly
pit
not.
was a war zone for sure.
Certainly not. It was a total war zone, and but honestly, man, and I had this thought on Sunday when it seemed like he got his payoff. But shout out to people like Caesar. I don't think that we talk enough about those kind of guys who not only go to a lot of shows, but almost are like cheerleaders
Yeah.
amongst the crowd, and really play a huge role in kind of setting the tone for it. And when you're behind it, you see it. I mean, when you see Caesar in the air, when you see Mitch in the air, when you see those people doing that, you see other people ripple and do it too. And the
The catalyst to the vibes for sure.
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
yeah.
vibe catalyst. That's a great
Yes.
way to describe those people.
Hmm.
They can't be appreciated enough, and I truly think that we'll talk about it next week, but I truly think the Ramon that happened on Sunday was the band's way of maybe thanking Caesar for all the energy he provides to the community.
Tipping the cap for sure.
Sure.
Man, it seems like we don't go very far for clips on this show
No.
because we don't. But dude, then you get into this 3 song section. Started with Gob Nugget, which I don't know if you can write a more exciting 3 song segment to finish
Mm-mm.
off the second set. And it started with Gob Nugget here. Um, Again, I think a lot of people will still ask like when are we getting our full Gob Nugget? I think at some point we will, but like for the purpose it served here within this 3 song segment to end the second set, is just the launching point, right? So again, this 3 song segment starts with Gob Nugget and then carries on with this last clip from the second set. Oh, Zach.
Dude, I had to sit down and collect myself when that happened.
Oh, it's so fun.
Camera should never leave Jeffrey during this intro. Hunter just looking at Jeffrey.
Bro. Gob Nugget, Orbital, Monkey Music.
So, a couple of things. Brad texted me almost precisely at the beginning of that gob nugget and said, "Nate taking huge L's right now. LOL."
Fuck you, Brad. Brad Younghouse or Brad Bowden?
Brad Bowden.
Oh God. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Not
Oh,
wrong.
dude,
Hey, I'm happy for everybody in attendance. That
oh
shit don't happen very often.
no,
If ever, I don't know. Do those three songs happen in a row at any point? I don't know.
I responded to him and I said, "Gob Nugget Orbital Monkey Music's actually illegal in 47 states." So, no, it doesn't happen very often. Colorado, as would be expected, Colorado, we've got legal weed out here, legal mushrooms, something as potent as
You
a
got
as
you got no staff at your venues, you know.
no, yeah, dude, we're just letting we're just letting the monkeys run the balcony, and something like a Gob Nugget Orbital monkey music is actually encouraged in some communities out here. Believe it or not.
um,
No matter how damaging it can be to the senses, honestly.
let's go back to that drum and bass orbital breakdown to start that clip. The
Yeah,
like that is shit. You know that's shit you haven't heard really since the early 2000s orbitals. Like I
yeah,
think it's the Lana on the fret tracks, like just the
it is.
yeah, like yeah, this was about as evil as an orbital gets.
Hmm.
It's
And
just
that noise was kind of all over this night.
yeah.
You know how Sesame Street has letters of the day. This is like the
Alana
sound.
tone of the night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tone of the night is like no, no, no.
Yeah, just fucking dirt snack shit, dude. Just that shit'll knock you out if you're not careful. Um
Duck the head.
like excellent orbital jam here. And then they give you no fucking chance to gather yourself. Like you said, you had to sit down. I mean, these monkey intros just keep getting more and more ridiculous. Like Zach has been eating his fucking Wheaties, man. Like,
Hmm.
and like you said, Jeffrey, so important here, with just providing Zach the space to just go absolutely ham, with getting on the wood blocks, getting on the cowbells, going absolutely insane on the cymbals and everything. Jeffrey was really important, all night here. I think we'll get into a discussion on who we think was MVP of the night. I think this has got to be the toughest one to pick out since we started doing this show.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, taking major
Yeah.
L's for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Um,
uh I honestly don't I don't know. Well, I'm interested to see who yours is. I think there's a pretty clear winner of tonight personally. But we're not there yet. That obviously is the set closer for Boulder, and the crowd goes fucking wild as you would
yeah.
expect.
And
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 then
what's the temperature check here? Like, was it steamy as fuck in there? As steamy as it looked? Like, I know
brother,
it wasn't
there
all that hot in Colorado this weekend, but
No, it was hot as shit in that venue, dude.
yeah.
It didn't the first set it didn't really hit me until the Tokyo where I had a moment where I was like, "Oh my god, dude, I need to go get water now." And then throughout the second set it was, you would have moments where you're like, "Oh, this is something. It
Yeah.
is at this point it's steamy as fuck in there. But it's starting to set in, I think, to a crowd of less than 1,000 in a sold out Boulder theater. Many of which are very seasoned STS9 fans that we just got something extremely special under our belts, and I think everybody was clamoring to see where we were going to land the plane at with this encore, and with our final clip. And I'd say we landed successfully. Man, now we're getting into all-time conversations here.
Yeah.
Um, obviously, you gotta let everything breathe for a little bit before you really
Yeah.
start having
Recency
this kind of
bias
conversation. Of
right
course,
now.
but
But I
there's certain sets that even on paper before you hear them kind of scream at a volume that's undeniable, and getting into what we've already talked about, and then them coming out with this crystal instrument to start to start our first of three two song
two song
encores of the weekend.
encores.
Yep,
Man, you talk about encore choices this weekend, bro.
just
Oh, so
uh,
good. Um,
napalm.
yeah.
Really, just like you love to say about shaky ground, and we'll talk about it next week. But just dance floor napalm is what this crystal instrument was, and just a real treat. I'm gonna butcher this story, but shout out Bodie, our homie and our little drumming phenom. I got to meet him this weekend, and he was great and just as cool of a kid as you'll ever meet. But apparently, him and Jeffrey ran into each other and had a bit of a conversation about about Crystal Instrument.
The
The
boy's been
that
chasing it for a little bit now. Yeah.
Yep,
Hmm.
and I don't remember exactly what was said, but this was let's just say that this might have been Bodie's Crystal Instrument, and what a cool moment for him to witness, what a cool show for him to be at, and just who doesn't love a crystal instrument at any point, but especially as an encore, it's just well placed as well.
A song choice that stays along this kind of theme of stuff that we haven't heard in 8 to 9 months to 2, 3 years on this night, right?
Right.
And we'll get into kind of the full look at that set list after we talk about what they went into after this. But like again, like maybe I'm crazy, maybe, but am I hearing the same thing? Like just like that STS9 from St. Louis, this is beefed up as far as like picked up tempo. I think it's seeming like they're just getting stronger and faster, like
Right.
and almost hard to keep up with in certain
Right.
at certain points. Like
Right, dude.
thank
They're in the weight room.
thank God you had a seat on this kind of night
Hmm.
for you for sure. But yeah, to cap it off, I think what people have been looking for out of big huge shows like this is kind of that you know last song to let you down a little bit easy for sure. Which I love Crystal. They could have finished with Crystal. I think Crystal as an encore for night one of the 3 night run, it doesn't get much better than that. Um, but yeah, to get into it from now on, which is we're starting to see this pop up a little bit more frequently, which I don't think anyone will argue with from now on. Is one of those songs that a lot of people have seen quite a few shows. It's one that can avoid a lot of people, right, or evade a lot of people. It can be tougher to catch. So I don't think anyone's arguing with seeing from now pop up a little bit more often in a set list, and especially as the final song of the night here.
Yeah, and I think it works particularly well in two song encores, right?
Yeah.
Because the way that it starts is do 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 do.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot that you could go into out of it, and it's kind of like that final rise on a roller coaster before it starts settling down, and
Mm.
you start appreciating the view a little bit. We're not going to listen to it. So that's where we're ending. But I mean, what who's going to have something bad to say about it from now on? I mean, that's a perfect ballad, old school song, and a really really wonderful way to end what people were immediately ready to call one of the best shows this band's ever played at the end of the night.
Yeah, and like Brad had said, he called his shot. He said Friday night will be the best Boulder Theater show of all time. Again, recency bias. I think we'll let this one breathe a little bit, but like right off the bat, I think you could make that argument, right? For
Yeah.
sure. Oh, what a night, for sure.
Hmm.
And for a band that's been catching as much flack as they have been about set list choices, about not maybe seeing the jams that they want to, like, dude, this was a night where STS9 subtly reminded people how fucking good they are, right?
Hmm.
Like, I think it shut a lot of haters up. And the trend
Yeah,
continues.
for 24 hours.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it next week, man. But
Right.
I agree. I agree. I mean they're around. And if they're not around in these groups, their family members are, and they see the good, the bad, and the ugly. And sometimes they respond by playing all the stuff that they're loving. And sometimes they respond by giving you a show like this.
With
If
zero human dream material, unless we see
Yeah,
big bass. Well, I think we'll see big bass and pop on to
yeah, but
but
for someone like you or me, I know we appreciate both responses,
yeah.
but I think no matter who you are, you can appreciate this Boulder Theater show. No matter if you're the most annoying, loudmouth, hardened, never said a nice word about this band since 2001 fan out there, this show was for you just as much as it was for us.
I wouldn't even call it chip on your shoulder STS9. I would call it just peak STS9. Like they didn't
Yep.
have shit to prove to anybody. They were just
No.
like, hey, let's go out there and lay down one of the best fucking shows that we've put together during our almost 30-year career coming up on it here. But yeah, let's get to it, man. MVP of the night. You want me to go first? Since you
No,
st
I'll go first. It was
Yeah, go for
Alana.
it.
It was
Yeah.
Alana.
Mm-hmm.
To me, we talked about the tone of the night. I think this set list plays in just very, very well to her bag of tricks. There's lots of modular. There's lots of opportunities for fret tracks and the evasive, the Sea Blaster, the We'll Meet in Our Dreams, the Frequencies, the Today, the Rabble, the 2012, the God Nugget Orbital Monkey Music. I mean, this has her written all over it. So yeah, I said it as I was walking out. That's one of the best I've ever seen Alana play, and I think she's the clear winner of this one. But yeah, excited to see what you have to say.
I'm having a hard. I don't disagree with you. She was an absolute monster. Again, this is the tough. I think all five of them were just in their fucking bag. I'm having a really hard time choosing between Zach Velmer and Hunter Brown. But I think I gotta go with Zach here. The man was just absolutely possessed. And the quintessential energizer bunny performance here. Um, but I think it's to be said that like yeah, across the board, all five of them, like we said, Jeffrey was so important on this night. Hunter had some insanely awesome moments during these drum and bass and modular jams. And David Phipps is David Phipps.
Yep.
Like him on that crystal is absolutely breathtaking for sure. So that's it, man. Boulder Theater 2025. First show in almost 10 years
Put
here. Did not disappoint.
put it in the fucking museum, dude. I mean, we might have to. Well, no, we're not going to because I think somebody might have an argument otherwise as soon as next week that there might be a better show in this weekend. But it's certainly going to be in contention for show of the year. And as far as Boulder's theater shows, I think it's in contention for best of all time. So what a pleasure it was to be there. What a pleasure it was to talk to you about it tonight, partner. And
Mhm.
yeah, we will be back next week with our good friend Will LaCroix to break down the Dylan run. Yeah, you got anything else, bro?
Member of the council joining us. We'll leave it at that. But
Yes, sir.
thanks for watching and listening, folks. Whether you're watching on YouTube, which we hope you were on these next couple episodes with these um, video clips to share. So if you listened, and you're thinking about rewatching this one, it's the one to go back to watch next week, I would say definitely hop on YouTube. But again, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, throw us a like, throw us a review, throw us a comment if you're feeling nice. But again, pumped to get back at it with this run next week. Much love, y'all.